Hey everyone, welcome to Stand-Up Analysis. I am here with Patricia. We're going to be looking over a set she did on Laughter Party, analyzing what went well, what didn't go well, and maybe how to make everything just a little bit better. Patricia, say hello and anything you want to say about context about this set or this show.
I just want to say thanks for watching.
Oh, great. Hey, I'll use it. Like, comment, subscribe, and do all of our stuff is in the description. And here we go. Let's kick it off.
Hey everyone, it's actually Patricia Yeazell.
So that's on me. My apologies. But also, how do we feel about our intro moment?
I think it was better than last time.
Okay. Sure. I do think. Look. I like that. Like I made an oopsie poopsie, and we very clearly, easily handle it up top. I do think we're a little bit too busy with like getting the microphone and stuff. So like.
Okay, I was trying to be better about that. I'm just so clumsy.
Sure. Well, so the off-screen, hard for you to see all the people watching, but she just like raised her hands like yay, and then you're not looking at the audience. We're focused on the mic.
Okay, I have to look at them.
So you can be like yeah, yay. Oh hey guys, how we doing? Oh hey, how we doing? As we do that mic moment, instead of like hey, I'm gonna not exist in this world for a second. Oh hey again. It's minor, like who cares? Audience doesn't care, but if we're talking about like minor percentages of like upping, it's better than not.
Yeah, you're right.
Once again, nothing to worry about. yeah, love. No, thank you.
Everyone, it's actually Patricia Yeazell. It's okay, I've been waiting to marry out of that one. Yeah.
Great way to resolve it. Great way to resolve my F up, make a joke out of it. Yeah, like that. And a great way to like start the set. Like, hey, I'm real. I'm in the room. I'm not just gonna plow into a bunch of written stuff. Love it.
So I just want you all to know that my birthday is on Wednesday. And I have the same.
I like that. My birthday is on Wednesday. Woo! And we really pimped that applause from the audience. So super reactive.
Day is on Wednesday. And I have the same birthday as Taylor Swift. That's right. My Facebook friends wish her a happy birthday and not me. Like seriously? I was in your wedding.
Oh, the audience laughed at that. We might have been able to respond to that laugh more before. Like it just sort of feel like I am up to this point. I couldn't tell like is she acting at me or with me, and that's a good thing that I can't tell. But that moment I was like, oh no, she's talking at me because the big laugh. Sorry, you have something to say?
Well, I didn't get a chance to go to an open mic or anything, so that was my first time doing that joke in front of an audience. So I wasn't expecting the laugh to be that big.
Sure. It also is a little earlier. Like, so my Facebook friends wish her a happy birthday, and then the audience started flying before we even got to but not me. Yeah. So I can understand why that would not be a moment that we were prepared to hit. Great that we have the reaction, but yeah. Once again, I always say this on most of these. Laughter Party is great, and that we're always writing new material for it, but the sort of like bad side about that is that we're always performing it for like the first or second time ever in front of a live audience, and so there's sort of these birthing pains to work out. Feel like you're interactive.
And I have the same birthday as Taylor Swift.
Whoa.
That's right.
We're responding.
My Facebook friends wish her a happy birthday and not me. Like seriously? I was in your wedding.
I think we just need to respond to that. With me and I, ha, funny to you. Just some sort of response. Yeah, to that. And that's why that moment sticks out because before this, everything seems like, oh yeah, she's live with us.
Twice. I'm your friend that you actually know. Wish me a happy birthday. Come on. Yay.
Now do it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Could have been a good addition to that. Once again, these bits are new, so there's stuff that we're finding, but that could be fun. I like that she made us wish her happy birthday in the room. Yeah. This is exactly what we were just talking about as far as like making it interactive. So, fun things that you can't really do if you're writing your sets devoid of the idea of an audience. Yeah.
Taylor Swift was just named Time's Person of the Year. I feel like a total failure. I wish I could just shake it off. Sorry about that.
Okay, thoughts about that joke? You're literally you're cringing.
I didn't need to like apologize for my puns.
It's funny that you said that because I was about to say I like that we apologized to this first one because it's sort of like responding to the audience about like, yes, I know what I just did. I at least for this first one, I don't want everyone to be like, oh, that was a terrible joke, but like, I'm sorry for doing that to y'all. It's like, oh, hey, I'm still having fun in this moment, and I'm recognizing what I did. So I don't hate the idea of it, but yeah, as long as it doesn't come off too poopy on the joke, which I personally, my taste, it didn't.
Okay.
But it is, there is a fine line there about like, I'm so sorry for that joke, y'all. Then the audience will be like, oh my god, on the other end of the extreme.
Birthdays, yeah. Last year on my birthday, my boyfriend canceled. Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay, and I want to.
I almost wish we had let that play out because like my boyfriend canceled. Oh, yeah, I know. Instead of like my boyfriend canceled. Oh, yeah. So we're sort of saying like, stifle what you're doing. This is about my words instead of like letting them play out that awe in response to your boyfriend canceling.
Well, it was the way that it sounded to me on stage is very different from what I'm seeing.
Sure. So for those watching at home, to be fair to what Patricia just said, there are multiple audio sources, and this one is backstage left. So what this audio is picking up is different from what the experience was on stage. So continue with what you're saying, and it probably will be true to your experience versus this sort of like found footage that we have and that we're watching.
Because it sounds more like they're, with me and acknowledging it, but I meant to say ex-boyfriend, and I was like, oh crap, because on stage it sounded to me like people were like getting sad and concerned.
Oh, in that case, then I do like the halting of like the don't pity me, wait. In that case, completely rescinded as far as the in that case, yeah, great. It's cut it off
but also
right to the past.
For bad things, so I might have just been a little paranoid. But that
okay, sure.
I'm like, don't screw up.
Yeah, no worries. But it's good to recognize that nuance versus like one way versus the other way. That move could either be training the audience in a bad way or training the audience in a good way because it's preventing them from doing something we don't want them to do, which is pity us.
I'll tell you why. Because I got to spend time with my friends who actually love me and care about me. Their names are Fluffy and Mittens. Yeah, they're my cats. Woo! And in my boyfriend.
Yeah, I like that. Woo! It's like acknowledgement for that energy. Love it.
Friend's chair, a blank space.
Okay, I see. And it was still saying boyfriend, right, instead of ex?
Yeah, I think if I had said, don't worry, he's my ex-boyfriend or something like that, that would have lifted the mood more.
Sure. Yeah. I kicked him to the curb. I'm doing way better. Yeah. Something. But making it seem like it's your current boyfriend, I can see where the audience might be like, oh, poor girl. That she's still in this. Yeah. The unfortunate importance of literally 2 letters.
Yeah.
Ex-boyfriend. Yeah. But things happen, and we have to sort of like once again, anyone watching at home, it's very hard to juggle all the things that we're doing, and like even on stage, you'd be like, did I say X? Did I not say X? Okay, let's just plow through because now I can't remember at this point, and like you won't know in the moment because so many things are happening.
I have dated 4 gay men. Woo! And one.
Yeah, love it that we halted the joke mid to respond to the audience. Great. So we're starting to train them in the right way versus the very beginning when we stepped on them a little bit. Love it.
One bisexual.
Let me get this.
4 gay men. Woo! And 1 bisexual. My friends were happy I found one who wasn't totally gay. Now,
Great. Your thoughts on that joke?
I think, like, should I have, like, cheered again after bisexual?
It's definitely an option. Yeah. It would have worked, and the audience would have been primed for it. Yeah. It's a good call out. Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know in the moment if it was going to be too much, but because I didn't, there wasn't as much energy on that punchline.
Sure. Yeah. I could go either way with it. That maybe at that point we would have pressed that button too many times because that would have been like the fourth time in rapid succession. But then also the audience is trained for it. So like, I could be argued either way on it. You know. Yeah.
I don't know why these gay men like me. I don't know if it's my hair or maybe it's because I use 2 fingers instead of 1. William said I had to make it very obvious that this was butt stuff. And
Oh, look how big that I mean, like, I do like the calling out me because I like the move of putting it on me because then if you as a brand, you want to distance yourself from that humor, it both allows you to do it and also says that, like, this is not my fault. This is someone else's fault. So it makes it double safe. So I like the instinct, and I'm happy whenever I can to play, you know, the straw man in the stand-up set.
and
I went after.
So, yep.
I went after Shun, right?
I forget the exact order.
I
That sounds about right. I thought
Yeah.
it was. I thought it was Jeremy, Shun, Matt's, and then you. Because didn't Matt's come right after Shun? Because he did the joke about, like, sorry to not be a third Asian in a row.
Well, I did think it was kind of. Shun had already trained them, like, with calling you out, so I think they were also, like, very ready for that.
Oh yeah. So a former comedian in the show talked about, like, hey, this is Laughter Party. Here's a terrible thing, and remember, it's produced by William Kane. And so, like, as far as the working memory of the audience, even the randos that were at table E, they learned who I was because Shun was before you. But without that, yeah, this might not have landed. My people might be like, well, who's William? It's a good call out. Did you have additional points on that?
Did you like my miming?
Oh, sure. Here. I like that the miming is like vaguely something, but it's not specific, so it almost like leaves more like what is that? I kind of like that it is like that. Here. Let's.
know why these gay men like me. I don't know if it's my hair or maybe it's because I use 2 fingers instead of 1. William said I had to make it very obvious that this was butt stuff. And in case you were confused.
Sorry, but I knew that would get an additional laugh, and even though I completely steamrolled your own. I think your what was going to be your secondary laugh? Because I think that would have worked as well. What were you going to say?
In case you were confused.
Oh, yeah, in case you were confused. This is not a nose. This is not an ear. This is a butt. Ew. William also told... You could do a bunch more William told me on tarot. Yeah, William also told me to do this. And William told me to do... He said he'd give me more stage time if I did... No, you could have played with the William told me bit as well, if you wanted. I almost hated this, and that you laughed with the audience in that moment, okay, shows that you're in the real moment. But for a second, I thought you're like, I'm going to ignore what's happening in the room and just set to, like, go back on the train tracks, as I thought was going to happen. Thoughts on your end?
No.
Which, to be fair, I did throw a huge monkey wrench in your plans, so, like, mea culpa. But anyway, so back to you.
No, like, I agree with you, like...
Oh, okay, sure.
Because I almost, like, didn't acknowledge it, and I'm like, no, I have to, yeah.
Sure.
I will say dating gay men really made me appreciate sexual harassment. You don't miss it till it's gone. I'm walking down the street.
Oh, now I remember.
Okay, yep.
I almost forgot my next joke, so I was like, okay, let's just take a moment, acknowledge everybody, get back to it.
Gotcha. Great. That makes sense then, yeah.
Here. Damn, slut! You got them fat titties! Thank you. He actually said that. Like, that wasn't for the bit. If someone catcalled you, what would you want them to say?
That I look nice.
Aww. Do you want to know what I want them to say? Hello, strumpet. If I was your gent, I would never combine your birthday and Christmas present. That's just lazy. And also, you got them fat titties.
I like just the minor head nod as a premise for that applause break. Okay, your thought on the 2 catcalling jokes.
I was really struggling with phrasing it appropriately because we had workshopped how to phrase what would you want your cat call to be.
Sure.
And I don't know if it's obvious from viewing it, but I'm like, I need to focus real hard on what I'm saying so it doesn't come out weird.
Sure. I think we did a good job in this. I mean, it could be that I know exactly what we mean because I helped workshop it, but I understood that you were asking the audience, what would you want someone to call out to you instead of like, what would you, the concept, the concern is that in some, this is from chat, what was the concern? The concern is that in some earlier iterations, the question was like, what would your ideal cat call be? And we didn't know, it was unclear whether she meant someone saying to you or you saying to someone else, or like a theoretical ideal cat call. So once again, it's probably being overly safe, but we wanted to direct the language so that, yeah.
Yeah, I think any woman would have known what I meant, but a guy might get confused. I was also thinking that I definitely cannot single out my friend Mark that came because he sat in the front and he's a poet. So like I knew if I asked him, he was gonna like pull out some iambic pentameter and completely.
Oh, it'd be like more heightened language than our heightened language version of it?
Yeah, it would have just totally derailed. So I'm like, you have to say this right and don't look at Mark. Don't do it. And of course he's like,
Yeah. Like way smiling, pointing at himself like, you put me in, coach. And you're like, no. Okay, great. I also like how we subtly like planted and sort of stuck our chest out so that fat titties part 2 would it helps it land. Please no one clip that out of context.
The bisexual I dated was a hair and makeup artist. He was so romantic. Do you want to know what he used to tell me?
Yeah.
You are so radiant. I did such a good job on your eyes. And also, you're good at sucking dick. For a girl. I did use 2 fingers. And lastly...
Okay, thoughts on that joke before you go to the lastly.
I feel like I didn't take enough time with it.
Yeah, I did. We could have been like, you're good at sucking dick. The audience wanted to react to that. We could have let them react, then added for a girl, let them react to that. I did use 2 fingers, let them react to that. And then we did 2 fingers like this, but we needed 2 fingers to be like the last time we did 2 fingers, where it was like, remember, this is how William told me to do it. This is how he did. This is how he said. And then it would have, because that's how the audience was taught it. That's how it would land harder.
Yeah, I don't know if this happens to you, but like a second feels like 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
When I'm on stage, so I keep thinking I'm holding enough, and then I watch it, and I'm like, no, I needed more time.
Yeah, for anyone watching at home in stand-up, you'll be like, and that will feel like you went, oh my God, there's been silence forever. It, like, time, extends so much. But really, you're just like, and the audience doesn't notice at all.
Exactly.
But it's hard to take a pause and say things. Even now, right now, it seems like my pauses are so long, but I'd bet they're less than a second long each if we like timed them out.
Probably.
So, yeah, whatever. No, William, that felt so long. You negated your own point with your terrible example.
It was a little extra.
Okay. Yeah, while I was watching the timer, as you did that, and I guess it was 1 second each. Also, one of our comics in chat just happened to me on stage on Saturday. Realized when I watched the tape back, yeah, it's hard to fight against. It's just hard to fight against the time dilation.
That was disgusting. I felt like I was in a porno. I mean, I guess I got the fat titties for it.
See, like right there, I needed more time after porno, but again, it felt like a century, and I'm like, no.
Sure. Yeah. Weirdly, I was so this I was like, why did fat titties not land as hard this time? And I don't know if we pressed the button too many times or if it's the pause. But this was a moment when my instincts say like, oh, the audience would laugh more at that than they actually did, and I haven't 100% diagnosed it yet. But I'm willing to accept that it's like that felt like I was in a porno. Ha 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 ha. I mean, it could be that maybe we're stepping a little bit on the audience's laugh, so the audience is being trained to pull back a little bit in this moment, and so that's why the final line doesn't land. But that's a hypothesis. I could be argued against that in a million different ways. I don't know. If you have strong thoughts about why or how you feel.
It's like I said, I think if I had given more space after porno and then got into fat titties, but I didn't give them, that's like a very shocking thing.
Yeah.
So they didn't have enough time to absorb what I just said.
Sure.
Lastly, that was disgusting. I felt like I was in a porno. I mean, I guess I got the fat titties.
Oh yeah, I guess I felt like I was in a porno, and then and then maybe react to the audience. Like if the audience is silent about like, oh, I guess you guys have never felt that. Oh, I guess like maybe we leave that beat and then check in with the audience after that line. Like not one of the terrible ones, one of the ones that you watch or whatever. And then go into the line. I don't know.
Well, normally when I do it, I'll do a callback to a thank you, like thank you, sir. Like after, but we decided to cut that in favor of adding fat titties.
That could have been me guiding you in the wrong direction. It could have been we needed to like thank the thank you after the first cat call, and then maybe if we did a thank you after the fat titties the second time cat call, then we just do thank you. We pay off thank you here instead of pressing the front of the buttons again.
I mean, they still laughed at fat titties.
Yeah, they did, and I knew they would. I don't know what that says about them, me, or comedy, but they laughed.
Thanks for it. I also dated a firefighter. My friends called him my little flavor. Yes, he was gay too.
Yeah, the audience goes, oh, and me, whenever you hear me interacting that big at Laughter Party, that's me trying to signal the comic, like, you're missing something you should be playing with, or like, I will activate applause breaks for the comedians that they should be activating themselves. So that awe was very big, and the audience heard it. Me going awe and doubling down on it is me trying to signal, like, play with this idea. You can respond to this. This is a moment the audience wants to laugh at. He was gay too. Aw. I already told you, they're all going to be gay, sir. Weren't you listening before? To some sort of response. Other than that other moment, which I just knew would land, most of the time I try not to. Anytime you can hear me in Laughter Party, I'm trying to steer the person on stage. So like here, let's watch.
Fighter. My friends called him my little flavor. Yes, he was gay too. But here's the thing when you date a firefighter, you don't get to complain about your day ever. Okay? They had a worse day. Right? He once told me, I delivered a baby on the F train. I told her, can you hold it in? But it was coming out. It was nasty. I just wish he wanted to get nasty.
Yeah, so this is we're not really checking with the audience's response to any of these big ideas. So it like you're a good actor, but it feels like we're being acted at. Good acted at, but acted at instead of like actually being part of this dialogue. I don't know, thoughts on your end?
Yeah, because I think the original feedback I got was you don't need to say he said this. And then so I was thinking about like taking all those out, but then I wasn't
Sure.
adding in the audience stuff.
Sure. Yeah. And to be fair, also people watching at home, there's a lot of iterations that we do, and this changed even from like the day before when we were practicing. So there's a lot of things going on in people's heads. That it's like, why did you do this? It's like, because I was focused on 4 other multitasking things at that moment that I did succeed in. It's like, fairness where fairness is due. But the audience it trumps everything else. The audience supersedes any other point.
They do.
Instead, he just wanted to slide up and down poles. I bought him a candle for Christmas. It was lit! Yes. My family likes to give very personal.
Oh, we could respond. It was lit. Yes! You guys liked that. You guys didn't. You like that as much as a firefighter liked a fire-creating object. Like we could have thrown in one of those things with playing with the audience, checking in with the audience after that.
Gifts for the holidays. My sister got me a menstrual cup. She's such a diva.
What I do like on all of these intro bits, like menstrual cup, I dated 4 gay guys, the way we're spinning it does imply that like, oh hey, I want you guys to think about this. So it implies an audience interaction. If I was like, so I went to school today, it sort of like begs like those. So what are your thoughts about it? We don't necessarily check in with the audience. We sort of act at them with the response. But I think we are benefiting off of that spin, making it feel enough that we get forgiven a little bit, that we sort of like plow into she's such a diva without really playing with the audience in between, even though we're sort of on performance train tracks. So those are the ways that like you can cheat with performance and sort of like make it seem super real in the moment, even though it might be full performance. And I don't want to say that it was just full performance, but I do want to point out if it was just pure performance. No, I don't know. I don't know when you get away with it.
Well, I mean, we know that like I have an acting background, so that's always something I'm fighting, is that I need to engage.
Yeah.
But gentlemen, it's a great gift for the ladies. It lets us know that you care about what's on the inside. Period. My grandmother.
Someone started to like clap with a pen or whatever. I don't know if that would have turned into an applause break, but we could have been like, thank you. We could have maybe activated that or hit that up.
She got me thong panty liners because she wasn't using them anymore. Now, I don't know why she got them for me. Like, I have cousins. I have a sister. I have a mom. I don't know what's wrong with me. But I do know.
So, yeah?
Your favorite joke.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it works every time. There's nothing wrong with that joke. Yeah, I just wish we would have played with like what? I don't know. What's wrong with me? Oh, and you guys didn't like the Taylor Swift jokes. Oh, yeah, again, so much. Like, we could have played with that after the fact.
Well, I think I was worried about going over time.
Sure.
So I think, because there were definitely a lot more opportunities for me to play with stuff here, but I was like, over time.
Yeah. To be fair, everyone watching at home, most shows I'm like, oh, hey, call your own set. Don't worry about time so much, especially if it's playing with the audience. But for this, because we were overclocked, I was like, if you guys hit 8 minutes, I am drop kicking you off the stage. So a little bit everyone was in their heads about like, time this show because they had to be for once. So like fair enough that you're like, oh God, I'm almost at the end. Let me land this plane and hope that it's within time. I can get that. And I do think if you took all the opportunities that we're presenting, you probably, even though you were only at like 6.5, it probably would have been close to the full time. If we're being, if we're just being honest about everything.
Song with me. But I do know that Grandma is sexier than I am. She's wearing thongs, and I'm wearing granny panties. Actually, I'm wearing Granny's panty liners. Now, none of these things was on my wish list. Do you want to know what's actually on my wish list? A straight man! Thank you, that's my time!
Yeah, because that...
How do you feel about your... Sorry, you're going to say something? So you go, and then I'll say what I'm going to... Yeah.
Because that I could have played with a lot. I could have been like, do you know anybody? Yeah, I could have done a lot with that, but then it got such a big laugh. I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm like at time, but let's end on a high note.
Oh, sure. I can vibe with that. I want you to watch how you leave the stage. I just want you to watch yourself as you leave the stage. Watch.
Thank you. That's my time.
They now focus on the audience. Literally go. It looks. I mean, like maybe you're yawning, but to me, it looks like you're going. Before. I mean, luckily you're triumphant with your hands, but even in this moment, you're triumphant with your hands, but your head's like, oh, I don't want to look at anyone. So it's like I don't know what to feel watching you. Please smile in the next. Oh yeah, you literally went like, oh, I guess I'll celebrate with my hands because William told me I had to. But oh God.
No, this is what happened. I didn't eat enough before the show.
Okay.
And because I don't know, I like think about my material, and so my knee was like shaking a little bit. So then I was like, all the adrenaline like left my body.
Oh, sure. You're
I was
like I am. Okay. Sure.
So I think that's, yeah, I screwed up because I needed to eat more food beforehand.
Yeah, no worries.
But I just like I don't think about like eating before shows. It's really bad.
Sure.
But no, I thought I liked my set. I wasn't like, it was so bad. But I can see why it would look like that.
Yeah, I was saying this is just from this angle. For all we know, from the different angle, from right in the front row, you're going, yeah, but it just looked like. Bleh. Okay, so we've now watched the full set. If you were going to do the set again, what would you do again? What wouldn't you do? Sort of like wrapping this sort of whole performance in a bow with like here's the moral of the story, etc., etc.
Moral of the story, I would be more responsive to the audience. I would push more buttons. I would play around a bit. Yeah, I would definitely work on my entrances and exits more.
Look, that's just look, for most of the time, the audience won't even notice that. That's just like a nitpick. Like in the general scheme of things, I want everyone to get better at that because it's like just a minor tweak that we might as well be doing. But the audience, like, yes, but like, don't worry too much about it. Anything else before I dig in?
Oh, also, I like how you pronounced my name better than the way it's actually pronounced.
Oh, it is. It's Yeazell.
Yeazell, like it rhymes with nasal.
Yeah. So like, I never say anyone's last name. Same thing with Dana. I've known Dana for over 10 years. Barely, I think. I don't know because I only ever write it. I never say it. So my apologies. I should have.
No, I don't care. It's just that I had that joke because everybody says it wrong.
Sure.
And one time I was at an open mic and the guy after me came up and he said, well, Patricia, my last name is Wiener and I'm single. So that's a
Oh, and that's the upgrade that you're like, I'll take it. Yeazell. Great. Yeah. So overall on the set, I think because we had a limited time frame and in both ways, both in prepping for it and in on the show, we got a little bit we fell a little bit into old habit. But I think it also does show that even though there's a few stress factors hitting us, we didn't fall full into old habit. We still have a lot of the new stuff still hitting there, which means it's starting to get more like strongly built in and resilient, which I do like, including some game day audibles that you pulled that I really do feel were in the right direction. So yeah, in general, just really need to watch being on the train tracks, and our acting, as much of a boon as it is, it should not be a crutch. Otherwise, we will crutch stomp the important sort of like dynamic with the audience that we need. But that being said, you can probably get away with maybe a little bit more than the average person because you can artificially spin things the right way. But I will tell you, as someone who leaned on their acting for way too long, I was like, ooh, I bet you the audience is going to respond like this. And I like every single contingency like planned for. And instead of actually just like interacting, I was like, no, I am super decision tree robot man with just good acting so that it seems like it. And it did not serve me well. The audience was like, oh, I feel like he's responding to this, but I would have been better just being like, right? Big dumb, but actually responding, right? Would have like, ironically probably gotten better than canned response with perfect acting spin, but that's been prepped a million times and isn't actually a feeling what's in being vulnerable in the room.
So
Yeah.
were you acting at the same time that you were having that issue with stand up, or was that like after you had transitioned out of acting?
Oh, I was actively acting. So like I started stand up maybe 12 years ago, and I was actively auditioning actor until 6 years ago. So there was a big 6 year overlap that I was
Yeah.
doing both.
So how long did it take for that to get better for you, or did it get a lot better after you stopped acting?
What really helped is, ironically, or not ironically, this is completely unrelated, so none of those words work. What really helped is one day I was tutoring SAT, and I was teaching my students something, and I was explaining, I was waiting for them to understand, and I was checking in. I was like, oh shit, this is exactly like teaching an audience a bit, and like I need to make sure that they get it, and I need to wait for them to get it, and if I like check in on them, oh, and once I had that sort of like new frame of mind for it, it didn't take long because I knew why what I was doing was not helping me, and so I could be like, once again, still old habits die hard, but it didn't take long once I focused on really actually playing with the audience. After he was a firefighter that delivered a baby on the F train. Yeah, it was this one day I was delivering a baby on the F train, and I was with my girlfriend who I didn't love because I'm gay. And I was just like, man, I should live a more authentic life. And then I stopped acting at the audience. It was more authentic with them. That's exactly what it was, chat.
Yeah, because sometimes I wonder, like, if it's weird because it's similar, right? Like you're on stage, you're performing, and then I keep finding myself having to fight, especially
So,
because I was performing on Saturday and then I had stand up Monday. So I
sure.
feel like when I actively have
Yeah,
acting
yeah.
going on, it's like harder for me to take the hat off. And
So I'll say two things.
yeah.
First thing, what might help to practice is to actually just like get friends who haven't heard your set before and just talk them up the ideas about like, hey, I'm gonna talk to you about like, and just so it feels really like a conversation instead of like even the practicing feeling like a performative thing. And then second thing, it is as much as I hope that this is not used in the wrong context, but I do think it needs to be said. As much as ideally with an ideal good crowd like Laughter Party is, we need to play with the audience. It is good to have a purely acted version in your back pocket in case the audience is a brick wall, if the audience doesn't give you anything, or if it's ironically a much bigger audience, like a And once you get to theater size things, you sort of have to treat the audience as one giant beast and use their like applause, not applause. So it is good to have good performance side in your back pocket. So like if the audience is giving you nothing, just like, oh, hey, I'll spin it if they were. Although ideally we do want to be vulnerable and actually acting, but like sometimes you do have to pull that out. So I don't want to like completely untrain it out of your body because there are going to be some terrible audiences that you'll have to just like power through. And that's the other side of the coin. Weirdly. And once again, that's one of the reasons why stand-up has such a high skill ceiling, because like at what time do you do what? Like, do you do one the whole way, or do you try to win the brick wall audience into slowly being more vulnerable to you, and then you go out of actor mode, and then like and while you're making all of those game time decisions, you're also trying to say some stuff about your fat titties. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like I knew that's the one. I was like, is that the joke that I use? And I just knew it was the right one to use in the moment. So yeah.
I had to put so much thought into what I was wearing because I'm like, well, I mean, I feel like I have to show like a little skin if I'm gonna say that joke.
I feel like even if you were completely covered up with like a very baggy sweater, that the audience would take your word for it.
Maybe. You just never know, right? But then I'm like, I don't want to be like, hello, you know.
Yeah.
It was a whole.
Sure. Okay. So if you've made it this far, hey, give us a like, give us a comment, give us a subscribe. All of our socials will be in the description, and probably some other videos of stand-up analysis will be appearing on screen right now. Any words of parting, Patricia?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Very vulnerable and heartfelt. Thank you.